I'll bring Buster Blader back from the graveyard! Now I'll use polymerization! Fusing my Dark Magician with my Buster Blader! Behold the power of Dark Paladin, the ultimate magical swordsman!
Hi there YouTube! DiamondFlame45 here with another anime figure review and unboxing. So today y'all, we are going to review one of my most anticipated figures of 2024. And it's one from my beloved anime franchises that I grew up. From the Yu-Gi-Oh series. A lot of millennials in the United States grew up watching Yu-Gi-Oh! And I remember my favorite card types were always the magicians, whether it was Dark Magician, Darkmagiciangirl, Dark Magician of Chaos, and of course the figure that we're going to be reviewing today is none other than he's big, FuRyu's Dark Paladin scale figure. And y'all, just looking at this box, it's huge. I don't even think y'all can see it vertically from this angle, but he's a very big figure, and I knew the moment he was open for pre-orders I wanted to get him because I already have a Darkmagiciangirl scale figure from Max Factory, and I always wanted to get our Dark Paladin scale figure. But now that FuRyu made one, I decided to jump on the bandwagon and unbox this bad boy because he's a really cool looking figure, man. Like, so cool. And this is pretty a novelty for me because I rarely get male figures, mainly it's just waifus, but I made an exception because he's so cool. So without further ado, let's get started and unbox this bad boy. So let's do this. Such a big box, man. So vertical. I actually ordered this guy through Hobby Genki, and Hobby Genki is starting to be my favorite figure sellers to pre-order from, especially those exclusive ones that you can't find anywhere else. And I love the fact that they still use yen because the Good Smile Company global US store, still the new one, uses US dollars now instead of the yen. And also, I lost my Ami account back when I was in grad school because your homeboy was a poor grad student, so he canceled his pre-orders way too many times, and he can't order from them anymore. And here he is in his plastic container, and honestly, he looks so clean. Oh wow! There's actually no covering on this side of the plastic container, so it's good that it exposes it, but at the same time you want to be careful and not damage it either, because like his front chest piece, it sticks out unprotected, so you can poke yourself or damage it if you're not too careful. So I must say, love the paint job and sculpt so far, and I still haven't opened him yet, so let's do this. Such a cool looking figure, man. I always love the Dark Magicians. They're my favorite card type, honestly. And I'm glad that Max Factory is making Magician's Valkyria because I want to get her. I know they announced a Dark Magician of Chaos figure, but the manufacturer is Belfine. I might give them the benefit of the doubt because they did make a Raiko scale from FGO and it's reaching out very nicely, but some of their other releases have been rather misses, so we'll see. But if there's no manufacturer that will create Dark Magician of Chaos, I'm just gonna go with Belfine and take the risk. And here he is, fully out of the box. And I must say, such a cool looking figure, y'all. He's very sturdy and heavy. And yes, the armor pieces I'm seeing so far, yes, look epic, man. But as you can see, here are the main parts that come out of this figure. You have the top part of his sword wand, bottom part, the epic Magician's Circle base with the flames. Man, love this. I just think the Magician's Circle for Yu-Gi-Oh cards is so iconic. You see it in the Dark Magiciangirl, in the Dark Magician cards, all of them, essentially. And of course, the figure itself. So, pretty straightforward process removing him out of the box. Now, let's assemble this bad boy. And unfortunately, this figure didn't come with any instructions, but it seems pretty straightforward. So, let's get started with the assembly then. And honestly, I like the fact that his bottom foot peg is actually like this hard plastic as opposed to like the metal rod, because sometimes I feel like the metal rod gets damaged. So you stick it in like so. Love this. I wish figure manufacturers would do this more. Makes the assembly process of inserting their leg into the peg much easier. Now that he's on his base, let's assemble his sword wand. Wow, nice. And here he is, y'all, the Dark Paladin fully assembled out of his box. And I must say, this was the easiest assembly process I had for a figure recently. Not gonna lie, the Scotty figure was a little bit difficult to assemble because you had to angle her foot metal peg at the right spot for it to stick in. But for this figure, it was straight to the point because peg itself was actually a plastic mold and you just stick it into the actual metal peg, so you don't have to worry about angling or anything. It just sticks in. Felt like a Lego piece in a way. That's the best way I can describe it. But here he is, y'all, fully assembled with all his glory. And just looking from the back, this figure is going to be really nice to review. So let's get started then. So the first thing that catches my attention for this figure from looking at the back is just the dynamic flow of his cape. Because when you look in the back, you see his magician's armor symbols on the cape. I like the fact that it incorporates like this jaded gold paint, but it kind of has like tints of green for some shading. And the cape on the back, it's a shaded black with hints of gray, makes it very menacing. I also love the fact that behind his back, he has these armband pieces that kind of look like daggers sticking out. And it's so cool looking because when I took him out originally from the packaging, they were actually surrounded by styrofoam just to make sure like those pieces don't get damaged because they do look a little bit thin and frail. And that's the cool piece that sticks out from the back. And of course, like Dark Magician's signature like hat, if you want to call it, like this, like his shoulder blades look pretty cool from the back as well. The same dark grayish shading with like the jaded gold painting. It's not a metallic paint like I saw from like my Strawberry Mickey scale figure. It's a matte gold paint, but it's just jaded, but it's done very well because I don't see any paint smears. And it just looks so cool from the back, honestly. So now let's look at the front. And the thing that captures my attention mostly from the front is just his torso. Like you see the full torso pieces of his magician's armor, and it reminds me of that iconic Dark Paladin card, you know, the one that he's holding his magician's sword one thing like this. And at first when I looked at the FuRyu's promotional pictures, I thought he would be a little bit skinnier. Pictures kind of made him look kind of twink-like, but here, man, he looks very burly and muscular. So I'm glad how he turned out in person, because I was kind of hesitating, like, I don't want him to be a pretty by choning, because he's pretty cool. Like, he's kind of hunky, and like the paint job of his armor is like top notch. I see no paint errors whatsoever. And of course, I just like the sharpness of his magician's armor, like the intricate patterns. I wish like the actual gems on his armor, like these little orbs that are on his armor, were made out of like a translucent plastic, like you see on the title figures. But honestly, this matte purplish paint job looks really nice as well. And of course, love the fact that gloves are intricately painted as well. I literally see no paint errors here. And normally when you see paint errors on scale figures, you tend to see them on the fingers because those details are pretty fine, but not for this case. But to be fair, his fingers are not really extending, they're just curled up together like a fist. And of course, love the front of his cape as well. Just goes well with like the battle magician aesthetic. I remember when I first saw Dark Magician and the Buster Blader fused in the anime back in the early 2000s, like, man, that was such a cool scene. It was epic, but not as epic and as memorable as when the Dark Magician girl first appeared, right? But other than that, this figure looks really cool from the front. And of course, another piece that sticks out for me for this figure by looking at him is actually his sword one. It's very well sculpted and sharp. Like, you have like the Buster Blade design on top of the one, and then it also incorporates to the bottom of the one. It actually has like this sickle-like appearance. Kind of makes it look like a scythe, sort of like the Grim Reaper scythe. And again, you see like the same black paint with the gray shading, the jaded gold paint, and purple matte paint for like the orbs that attach to the sword one. And like this figure, y'all, it's just so badass and epic. Like, it kind of reminds me of early 2000s emo aesthetic, but just cooler. Like, brings me back of my childhood days in middle school. Because back in the day, I was in a bit of an emo phase. I actually had like a chain choker and wore chain wristbands, and I wore camo. Like, interesting combination, but That was me back in my middle school years. Honestly, they did an excellent job with the magician's sword. And another detail that sticks out for me for this figure is, of course, his face sculpt. Like, I like how the bangs are protruding out nicely. The thing that I wish was a little bit better was like his front hair bangs. I wish it had more separation between the bangs, but it's kind of hard to get separation with bangs if you're wearing a hat to cover them. So I understand. The paint job on his eyes and his face just looks epic. Like, he looks very cool and menacing. Like, he's ready to fight. Like, he just gives a very imposing appearance. And in person, he looks much more manly. Because, like I mentioned earlier, I thought he was a little bit twinkish from FuRyu's promo pictures because he looked a little bit too lanky for me. But his face looks very well sculpted and sharp. Like, exudes cool and edgy masculinity to it. And another detail that I forgot to mention on his outfit are actually his leg armor. Like, you see these really cool sharp protruding pieces sticking out his leg armor, his boots that you see on his elbow pad and on his sword. Yes, epic. I just like how sharp his shoes are and all the protrusions. Just makes it look very badass. And the paint job very well done, executed. I do see a little bit of a paint transfer on the back of his leg, but it's just very tiny. And since you'll be displaying it from the front mainly, you're not gonna see it from the back. So still an excellent paint job overall. And of course, the thing that I do appreciate about FuRyu's bases for the fnex figure scales, a little bit more intricate. So for this one, it's the iconic magician's circle with like dark flames protruding. It just screams edginess. Like, I think they're purple. We'll call them purple. Like, the purple flames extruding, peering out of the magician's circle. It's like, it's really cool and epic. Like, so edgy. It makes it appear like you actually summoned him from dark magic, which makes sense because he's like the dark magician and Buster Blader fusion. And man, like, the flames are actually a translucent plastic, but it's ready to touch, and he has a lot of weight to him as well. But honestly, how well he attaches to the base, like, he's not gonna bend over. He's pretty stable, and his magician's wardrobe, the back and the front, is a little bit bendable, so you can move it around a little bit, so then it goes over the flames a bit. But yeah, man, this figure was well worth the wait and the price, because he wasn't cheap, honestly. But I knew like there wasn't going to be any other Dark Paladin figure made by any other manufacturer, because he's not a waifu like the Dark Magician Girl. So I had to jump on him while I had the chance, and he was well worth the purchase. Like, it's been a while since I've been just impressed by a scale figure that's just so simple but effective. Like, despite his intricate details on his armor, like the sharpness to it, it's just variations of gold, purples, grays, and black, and it's done so effectively. Like, it fits like that dark magic aesthetic. I wish it would make new Dark Magician scale figures, because the only ones I can think of that are officially licensed are the Kotobukiya scale figures. But I want a bit more modern, because the one with the yellow hair is okay. I do like the purple one, but its aftermarket price is outrageous. But for now, this Dark Paladin will satisfy my fix for epic Dark Magician scale figures, because they'll find plans to release their Dark Magician of Chaos scale figure, who knows when, but I know they already released pictures of the prototype so far on MFC. But yeah, y'all, overall, this figure is well worth it. Like, simple, straight, and effective, gets to the point, gets a really badass looking figure. Like, if you want a cool, epic Dark Magician scale figure, he's the one I would recommend that's been recently released. Really cool, highly recommend. So now that he's out, I want to see how he compares in size to Max Factory's Dark Magician Girl. And here is Dark Paladin next to Max Factory's Dark Magician Girl. And man, like, the size comparison is really interesting, to say the least. Like, there's a huge size difference. Like, she's 1/7 scaled, but so is he. But I don't know, they just look, but despite the size difference, they look so cool and next to each other. I like how the Dark Magician Girl's purples and pinks, like, her nice, like, pastel-like colors contrast with like the emo colors of the Dark Paladin. And of course, those iconic magician circles come out as well. Like, really nice. Like, you have the master and his pupil right next to each other. Like, wow, such a really cool pairing, and they contrast very well. Nice. Like, I'm definitely gonna have these next to my workstation. Like, they're just so cool looking, and I just love the contrast, and they just bring so much nostalgia to me because I grew up watching Yu-Gi-Oh in the early 2000s. Like, I watched Yu-Gi-Oh, the first season, GX, Generation X with Jaden, and I also watched by D's, but anything beyond that, I kind of stopped. But I'm just happy to have these figures. They just remind me of my childhood because it was much simpler days, and I just like how nostalgic those days were when pretty much like I was discovering anime and just how epic it was. But yeah, really cool figure, highly recommend. Hands down the best Dark Paladin scale figure in the market because he's the only Dark Paladin scale figure in the market, so you don't have that many options. But anyway, y'all, hopefully you guys enjoyed this anime figure review and unboxing. I don't really have that many figures planned to be released for this month. The only one I can think of off the bat is my Miku Cinnamon Roll collaboration Android, and maybe the Star Sky Miku from Spirit Tail if she doesn't get delayed, but you know the stores are going out with Spirit Tail Miku. But other than that, don't have many figure expected for the month of May, but that's okay because I'm planning to go on a convention. I'm planning to go to MomoCon this month, and I'm planning to cosplay as Leon and Mihawk from One Piece. Yep, looking forward to that. But once again, y'all, thank you so much for watching this anime figure review and unboxing, and I hope I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!